It's a beautiful day on OnBrittsBlock. Go ahead, slide through. You right on time. Welcome to my neighborhood.
Welcome to OnBrittsBlock. Come take a walk where love is loud and dreams can talk. Hey, yeah. Every step is soul inspired. We shine bright even when it's dark. Oh, hey, sunshine. Real things, joy, peace, and the growth is. So pull up, chill, let your spirit rock. You home now. You home now. You OnBrittsBlock. You OnBrittsBlock. Big vibes, big heart, real talk, we smart. Every part of the block is a work of art. Life a little, heal a lot, we don't pretend. We building something better, friend to friend. Hey, sunshine. Let the love and the light begin. Understood, OnBrittsBlock, where you belong. This ain't just vibes. This ain't just vibes. This is your song.
Hey, my beautiful neighbor, welcome to OnBrittsBlock. I am Britt. Come on in. As you come in, though, make sure you hit that like button. Hit the like button to help me get in the algorithm and seen by more people. And then make sure, if you ain't hit the subscribe button, run on over there, hit the subscribe buttons, and then tell your neighbors, family, and friends to come on over to OnBrittsBlock. I got plenty of room. And make sure you turn on your notification bell so that whenever I upload a new video, you'll be informed. And if you like to be a blessing to my channel, you can at Cash App, $ OnBrittsBlock. Again, Cash App, $ OnBrittsBlock, or for super stickers, super thanks, super chats. And if you want to be a member, child, in it but $1.99. I got them memberships on sale for $1.99. So these are our announcements. Please govern yourself accordingly, and let's get into this video. Hey, my little rays of sunshine. So, ON has a new reality show called Unlock Family Secrets. This first episode came on this past Saturday, and I am going to give the breakdown of what happened on the show for those who have not watched it, and my thoughts on what's going on. So again, it's the ON reality show called Unlock Family Secrets. Let's get into this. This first episode is about Lydia and Dennis Murphy. So it starts off with Lydia talking about, she was born in 1972 in Macon, Georgia, and how her family was just based in church. They didn't have an outside life. It was surrounded just basically around church, so she didn't do a lot of outside activity. And then she was saying that she has 5 siblings older than her and 4 younger, and their dad didn't have a large education. I think he either dropped off in 3rd grade or 8th grade, either one of them. So they strive to be better. He wanted her kids to be better in life and just to get a good education. And she just said how her mom, she was a good mom, and she was the one that was the disciplinary. So it's like, get your grades or get in trouble. So she said she always wanted to stay out of trouble. She graduated high school and went on to college to become an engineer. And when she got her degree, she went back and got her master's degree. And after she got a master's degree, she moved to Birmingham, Alabama. Well, when Lydia moved to Alabama, she had a boyfriend, but one day she went to work and came home and had a little Dear John letter, I gotta go. It ain't me. It ain't you, it's me. And all that, so I love you. Hope you find something better. So she got one of them letters. And she said she was just so tore up, that he just left her and she loved him. She said, but then all of a sudden she had got like a little feeling or something moved in her spirit that a guy at their church, she went to Solace Baptist Church in Birmingham, and the guy at the church, Dennis, was supposed to be her husband. Now she goes on to say that she really didn't. They've hung out and she know him, but she didn't like him that way. And I ain't gonna question God when she said earlier that the Lord laid it on her heart or in her spirit or wherever He laid it at, that Dennis was gonna be her husband. But that's between her and God. Lydia says that every woman in church that had a single daughter was always wanting to try to hook their daughter up with Dennis because he dressed nicely. So Dennis said that when he was in church and he saw Lydia, he didn't think that Lydia was first aid material, which with him being a youth pastor, he said because she was loud and she would come to church, wearing raggedy jeans, so he didn't really feel her, see her as first aid material. He said, but she did have some pretty legs. He said that be known. So then she says that she went for sure about him because she was the engineer and she made more money than him. Her mama had always told them to marry up, so don't kind of settle, she said. But as time went along and they hung out together, she started to see him in a different light. And again, the Lord told her that Dennis was going to be her husband, and we're not going to argue with God. So Lydia goes on to say that she had bought a new house on a corner lot, and she invited Dennis to come over to her housewarming, and just how her family was interrogating them. And her mama said, hey, you ought to marry her. He said so Dennis came on. He was like, yeah. He wasn't quite there yet. And she said one night her TV had went out, and she invited him to come over to ask him would he fix the TV. He said he went over there and he fixed the TV. And so then she fixed him dinner. He said, and he ate that fish, and something said, oh, you need to marry her. But then she was talking to her sister. She's like, yeah, we was together, and I didn't know, I wasn't for sure about Dennis, but something was just kind of stirring. I said it probably could have been gas, but whatever. But then she says that Dennis said, well, let's get married. And then he changed his mind. He tried to do that little Dear John too. And then she said she went home that night and sent up a little email to God and said, look, if this is the one for me. And she said that when she got up off her knees that Dennis was calling her back and asking her back. He done changed his mind about leaving. He was coming on back. He didn't want to ride that midnight train to Georgia, so he was going to come on back to the house. So Dennis said that, he asked her to marry him and everything, but what he didn't believe in premarital sex. But that night, they went upstairs and they did the do. He said that Lydia was the best he ever had. Well, first thing, if you ain't never had none, that she probably would be the best you ever had because she's the first one. But didn't you just say that you don't believe in premarital sex before marriage because of God? See, they confuse me on their Christianity, but that's up debate with them and God. I ain't finna get into that one either. And then Lydia said that they prayed all weekend. I said probably asking, my thoughts probably asked for forgiveness because they said they did what they don't do. But we're gonna go ahead and ask God to forgive us this time. So Lydia and Dennis got married in 1978, and they wanted to go ahead and start a family. So in 1979 they had their first son. In 1981 they had the second son. But at that time they were still kind of in honeymoon phase, and Dennis became the pastor of a church for the first time. Because when they met, he was only a youth pastor. Now he is pastoring the whole church. So in 1983, Lydia and Dennis had been at a church event, and Lydia went home and went to bed, and Dennis said, he heard a voice say go home, but he didn't go home. And at 2 a.m., Lydia received a phone call from the police department that her husband Dennis had been locked up. And when she get down there, Dennis has been locked up for trying to solicit a male to do, and that male was an undercover cop. Y'all know what I mean when I say do. So Dennis said that he didn't really want to tell Lydia what happened. He was trying to get out of it, but Lydia, the police ended up calling Lydia, and she got to the police station. They were saying that they had said planted a mole, kind of per se. Somebody set up, I don't know for what reason, and set up somebody in the movie theater, a male. So when she got there, she said Dennis had his head down. He was just, just so upset and crying because he didn't want her to know. And then to the fact that he is the pastor of a church, and he didn't know what was going to happen, how she would respond. So when she said they rode home, he cried the whole time. When she got there, she went upstairs to her room and she didn't say nothing. She just shut the door. She said, she pretty much, she said she just shut down. She had nothing to say, didn't have no feelings or nothing. So time, days go by, and then he said, I'm sorry. And she was like, okay, baby, I forgive you. I understand. So she forgave him for that. And she stood behind him. She didn't say nothing. So eventually he wanted to change the scenery, said that he wanted to go to seminary school. And he went to seminary school. And once he got his degree and all that kind of stuff in theology, he decided then, okay, well, I want to move to California. So she said, well, if that's what you want to do, well, I'm going to ride with you. I'm your wife, so we're going to move to California. Beverly Hills it is. I'm just kidding. But they moved to California with their at that time, they had 2 sons. So let me go back. I said that he had got his degree in theology while he was back in Alabama. He didn't. He moved to California to do seminary, so my bad about that. So while he was in seminary school, he also, over in California, he got a church. So years passed by, he got another church, they had another baby, and he had the opportunity to go to Africa for a month-long retreat. He went to Africa, and him and another bunch of preachers, they were going around just preaching at different churches. And she was saying this how the family was great. Everything now feel like it was back on track. They were doing good. They were loving each other. It seemed like it wasn't no problem. Even though he was in and out on the road, he still came home. He focused on her and their sons and their family, and everything was going good. And then one day, she went to the garage, and when she was in the garage, she found a porno of men. A porno with men, say 2 men together, pretty much. So she said when she found that porno, she was like, wait a minute, what is this? So she's like, okay. So she went in there and she was like, Dennis, where did this come from? And she said that they argue all day long because she was trying to figure out. Now we don't have this discussion before, and everything been going good in our family, but all of a sudden I find this video, and it's between 2 men, and then this is saying, I've always watched porno before we even got together. But the point is, what kind of porno you been watching? Because this right here is not between 2 women, it's between 2 men. So they argue all night and all day. And their sons are also talking about how loving and attention their father was, and how they had a good home. Everything was stable. They had family vacations. They did all the good things in life, that parents can do for you. And at that moment, when they were younger, they did not know what was going on because they just saw everything looking copacetic, pretty much. So after the fact of she has found this video and she's been mad and all this kind of stuff, Dennis said finally one day he called her on a Monday and said, look, we need to talk. So she said when she got home and she sat on this little chair and she got in bed, and he said, I'm going to tell you everything. So he wanted to tell her that he was bisexual and how he had cheated on her throughout their whole marriage with other men. And she said Lydia just said she kind of just sat there, said she wanted to just, crumble, but she just sat there and said nothing. And Dennis told her that, look, it was just sex. They didn't mean nothing to me. That was it. That's all. And she said that she believed him. So, and he said he didn't want to lose her or his marriage. I mean, he didn't want to lose his marriage or his kids. So he was just coming clean with everything. And she said that she believed him. Now, in my opinion, I'm waiting in. Just hold up, I'm keep going. I'll be back with my opinion. So Lydia said that they will go. They need to go to counseling, and Dennis said yes. He agreed with her. Yes, because he wanted his family, his marriage, that he will go. He will go to counseling to try to figure this thing out. So Dennis said that. I mean, not Dennis. Lydia said that she heard on the radio, a Christian radio station, talking about something called a conversion theory. So it was someplace you go and you talk. So Dennis went to this facility, and they were saying, since you have such a high sex drive, that's your problem. We're going to give you something to kind of reverse that. And he was like, wait a minute. So he called Lydia and said, look, they over here trying to give me something to slow down my sex drive. She's like, the sex that we have is great. It's amazing. You don't need that. So come on back to the house. Don't worry about that. We'll see counseling somewhere else besides where you at now. So he got on the plane and went back. So Dennis and Lydia found a therapist away from them. The therapist said that Lydia was a workaholic and that Dennis was a sex addict. And so she said she tried to work on her life, work home life balance and making it okay. I ain't gonna work as much. I'm gonna try to be home, be present, and do all this kind of stuff, because Dennis was taking care of the kids more, making sure they homework was done, ate, bathed, and all this kind of stuff. So she said she's gonna do better. So she fixed it and did the work. Now Dennis on the other side said eventually he was just like, they saw the therapist for like a year, and then finally he said, I was like, you know what, the hell with that. I'm a bisexual man and they ain't getting past it, because even when they would be in therapy, he was telling the therapist she ain't giving me enough sex. And she was like, how much sex do you need? Now dang, we don't did it from the window to the wall. What more do you want? I mean, we 5 days a week, 365 days a year. By the time my insides are out. So come on now. So he said that he didn't mean to cheat on her, but he went back to doing the same thing with men. She didn't know. But then he tried to make it seem as though, people don't realize that, they try to demonize the cheater, but they don't realize how much we hurting that person. Well, if you hurting that person and you hurt because you're hurting them, won't you stop hurting them? Hello? God, I mean, so he's like, but he still didn't stop. He didn't tell her what he was doing. But he went back on the straight and narrow path. And he said, at the end of the day, he said, I'm just a hoe. And that came out of Dennis' mouth. I ain't say it. Dennis said that he was just a hoe. So Lydia said he hid what he was doing, and he hid it so much that she believed that, he was good. Said he believed that, he was being a great father and a great husband. So she didn't know, because she couldn't tell that he was out here cheating. So I don't know how he did it, but he poured the wool over her eyes. So some way it got around the church. They started gossiping and having rumors about the pastor being homosexual. And Lydia said one day a lady came up to her and told her, she said, your husband is a hypocrite. I saw him out with somebody such, and they was together, and he was the film, feminine and male, all that kind of stuff. He was the top. So she was just like, my husband is not like that. He said, then he had another woman come to him and said, we ain't never had nobody homosexual in our church. I'm like, ma'am, okay, that's for a later time too. But they had never had anybody in their church homosexual. So she said that she was going to shut that down right then. It wasn't going to be no talking about him. We're going to get this together right now. So we got to stand as a united front and say this is not what's really going on, because they wanted to get the situation dead in church before it got any further, and they shut down the rumors before they got it started real good. So to bypass the rumors and everything, they decided to leave Mount Calvary Baptist Church in Oakland, California, and there was an opening at a Tabernacle Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia, they packed up and left and went back. They went back. They packed up and left and went to Atlanta, excuse me, because she's from Macon, Georgia. So they went to Atlanta, Georgia, to Tabernacle Baptist Church. And she said at this point, they were working together. She was the administrator because their income was tied in the church of this church having to grow because they didn't have a lot of membership. And she said that you could take a football and throw it and wouldn't hit nobody because they didn't have a lot of people. But as time went along and they heard that first sermon, the church grew from like 100 people to 800 people. So he about got that church in some sense in a Baptist church as a mega church because, we don't have that many people. Well, you can, but it was standing room only when you went to services. And everything just seemed to be well. Now they back in the church. They doing good. He's growing the church. So the women and everybody be falling all over him. And they was doing good. And then Dennis had a lapse of little bout of amnesia and fell back into smelling himself and was going back to what he was doing. So Lydia says that as time go on, he think because he got this mega church that he got a lot of power and started doing what he wanted, whatever he wanted to do in it, everything he wanted to do, coming in late, staying out, all night, all kind of stuff. She said one day he came into her and said, look, I got gonorrhea and you need to go get tested. And she was like, she was mad. And now she trying to figure out what she needed to do. She didn't think he would go back to doing the same thing that he used to do. She said after he started acting like this, her biggest fear wasn't, things getting out about him, but the biggest thing was keeping their family together because family was a big part of their mind and just wanting to have their family and not losing the bond that they had. So kind of to make things right in my eyes, Dennis decided to build Lydia her dream house that she's always wanted. Said it took 2 years for them to build it. The house had 7 bedrooms, and the house is gorgeous. I mean, it probably would have got me in line too, but I don't know. But they built her a 7-bedroom house in Atlanta, Georgia, and he bought a Mercedes and other cars. And because of the fact of now that the church is a semi-mega church, they got all this money now because their bank account and everything was based on the number of people in the church. And now that they have the established going from 100 people to going over 800, now they really making bank. So Lydia said she was consumed by trying to keep the secret about Dennis being bisexual, but later on they found out that they had another member in their family that was gay, and that was their son, Mikey. Said he had came home from college and wanted to sit down and tell them that he was gay. And she said she knew that he was different from birth till now that he's gay. I mean, that could have been the best time to tell, her son that your daddy is too. Don't feel like you alone in this thing, son. I mean, I guess. So Lydia said once she found out that her son was gay, her concern with him is that he could contract HIV because she was over the HIV ministry at church and had saw a lot of young men pass away from having HIV. But she says that she never worried about Dennis giving her HIV. And after a year, within a year, her son coming out the closet telling them that, that he was gay, he contracted HIV. And they was just trying to help him through the process, just saying, look, it's going to be all right. He said it took him time to feel as though, he was going to make it or fight through this. He thought he was going to die, and they was just like, she flew home from California when Dennis called and told her, and they was just gathered around him. I mean, y'all act like the man has got a death sentence. It's new medicine around here to help him, but they rallied around him. He said he felt like giving up, but finally he turned the curve and thought he was going to get better. So, still once again, she ain't thought about herself in this situation. But as time went on, rumors started going around this church too that Dennis was out here in these streets wrong, and now it's getting back to his sons, and it got back to one of the sons like, yeah, your daddy over there in the park, and the guy with his son Michael was like, what you mean by the park? He said he over in the park in some bushes or something. My daddy would never be there. And Lydia said she was sitting there looking and said one Sunday he was preaching and said he preached bad. It was like a bad sermon or something. And said his mama looked over to Lydia and said, whoever he fornuckering around here, they in this building. And I used the word fornuckering, but the mama used the other word in church. That they was inside the church sitting there. So look around and see who you looking at, cause whoever it is, oh, he fornuckering them. So a rumor was going around that Dennis was messing around with somebody named LaVar that was over the children's ministry, the church ministry, teaching the little children at the church. Come to find out, y'all, when she asked Dennis what was going on, he did not deny it. He says yes, him and LaVar has been messing around. And she's like, she said, I feel like I've been hit by a Mack truck because this man he's coming around us. He at our family dinners. He go out with us, all this kind of stuff. And you got your lover following us around. Boy, bye. So then LaVar comes on, and LaVar said that he started meeting met Dennis when he was 27 years old, and Dennis was 53 years old. Looked like a cougar situation, or maybe a mountain lion. I bet you one thing, Dennis got a good memory because he said that he met LaVar on November 14th, 2005 at a place called Insurrection, like a little sex toy place. And he got his number. And the next day he ended up at his house. He said he don't know what it was about LaVar that he just could not let him go. It's just like he had a hold on. LaVar had a hold on him. So when LaVar came into the picture, he kind of like just overtook Dennis' mind, his heart, and he started not caring anything about his family anymore. And even Lydia said that she could tell that he was no longer in love with him because he was not focusing on her. It was more of his attention was going to LaVar, and if LaVar said something, that's how it went. So she got tired at this point, late 2005, and just holding a secret. And called her sons over to the house and said, we need to have a talk. So when she got there, the sons, they sat down, and he was Dennis over there with his leg crossed looking down, and she told the sons that your dad is out here having affairs and they are with men. But she also said that she was tired of keeping that secret because her mama kept the secret about their daddy all them years, that her dad was out here cheating on his mama with other women though. But all this time my mom was holding the secret that the daddy was cheating. Said she felt like she was just like her mama holding that secret from her kids, that your dad out here cheating with me for another man. So his sons was like, one of them was like, what? Wait a minute, did you just say a man? Say, yeah. And the other said his stomach just fell to his feet. And they said that at that moment, once she told them that their dad was cheating on her with another man, it caused a rift in the family, which is understandable. That it caused a rift between the family. So once Lydia exposed that Dennis was gay to the sons, Dennis said that he met LaVar in November of 2005. 2006, they moved in together. And in 2007, Lydia filed for divorce from Dennis, and he moved in with LaVar. So Dennis decided that he was tired of being gay and hiding it and being undercover. So one Sunday morning, Dennis said, you know what, I'm tired of it. He said, everybody, y'all think I'm up here messing around with somebody, and I am. And so I want them to stand. LaVar stand up. So when LaVar stood up, everybody in church now know that he is dating LaVar. He said that some of the people sat down and they was like kind of like clapping, Pastor, we heard about it, and then some of the people left. But then he said that 85% at that time his church was gay. So it didn't really matter because when they left, Mo came back and joined because they already knew that he was gay. And then, you got to think about it. You in Atlanta, so it wasn't probably going to really matter. And as time go on, Lydia said she had to heal from this because, she was broken and hurt. But then she wrote a book called The Gay Minister's Wife. the gay pastor's wife. And so today she has healed, she has gotten over it. They ended with the family coming together and having dinner at Dennis and LeVar house, and she had made dinner and everything. Dennis was like, yeah, now I'm sitting between my husband and then my ex-wife, and we're still laughing and cordially together and just so happy. So she got past the fact that he, don't cheat on her and with another man, even the man that he cheated on her with that caused them to rift and break of their family. They able to get along now and just enjoy each other, and they said they just one big mixed family. So my opinion on this is that a lot of this is going on today. It's like this ain't nothing new. But I feel as though, and this is my opinion, when he done it to you the first time, shame on him. The second time, shame on you. And probably it wouldn't have been the third time, because her focus more so was not on my happiness or what makes me, productive in life, what's going to keep me sustaining life. Her happiness was keeping everybody else around her happy. She was not focused on her. One time Lydia was focused on her husband and her kids and my family, and she kept saying, I didn't want the family to fall apart. So and he played on that, because he would tell her, oh, I love you, I don't want to lose my family, I don't want to lose us. Typical what everybody else do. A man to play on your weaknesses. Whatever you keep telling him you want, whatever you want, they gonna play on that. So it was easy for him to say, okay, I love you, and I don't want to lose our family. You know how much I love you. And she kept saying, that their sex was amazing. Okay, but even in that does not bring love. It don't bring comfort. And he picked her up and took her all the way to California to still continue to do what he was doing. And she knew this. And then to come back to the almost one of the gay capitals of the world, Atlanta, and you still dealt with it. I have no problem with you being gay, but if you want to be gay, and I know that I'm straight. I don't want to be in a three-way relationship that I don't want to be in. I didn't sign up for this. So, it was good. It's good that he got out of the marriage, but to hold that secret from her all this time, he would come to her, yeah, baby, honey, you don't know how many times I don't cheat on you. And I'm like, in my mind too, was your eyes closed? What was he doing, or what was you doing that caused your life to be that busy that you couldn't see that your spouse was moving crazy? Because one thing I learned about men is men move different. When they doing good, one way. They start doing bad, they move another way. But it did come out in the open, that, hey, you gay, you don't move on about yourself, and him and LeVar are together and they're happy. Then it is what it is. But it's a lot of things. Even when the beginning, when she was like, yeah, I had a feeling that that he gonna be my husband. Now you said all at the same time, but you said this before. You said you didn't like him in the beginning, but then you get a feeling that it's gonna be a husband. Baby, that could have been the devil, a bad case of gas, a diarrhea, explosive diarrhea, ready to make a appearance. You have to, take your kids to the pool, and to say that that's God, because even a lot of things that y'all was saying, I don't believe in this, I don't believe in that, but y'all was still doing them. So did anybody really seek God, or did you just hone in on him because you were lonely, because you was in a relationship and that guy that you was with left you, and I don't want to be alone? But that's neither here nor there. But the whole story, the entire story, was that Lydia married Dennis. Dennis cheated on Lydia for years, and at the end of the day, Dennis ended up with LeVar, and Lydia is by herself. And the secret is that the secret is out that Dennis is a hoe. he's a minister hoe, pastor hoe. I don't even know if he's still pastoring or not, but I have to look that up. But anyway, y'all, that's all I got for you. I'll be back on next weekend with the next episode of Untold Family Secrets. All right, neighbors, that's all I have for this video. Don't forget to like the video. Again, like the video. Get down in the comments and let's talk about it. And don't forget about your earlier announcements. govern yourself accordingly. And y'all already know what to do. Let's have a wonderful day on purpose.
You home now. You home now. You on Brits Block. You on Brits Block. Hey. It's always love on Brits Block. See you next time. Sunshine.